Abdulaziz Bouteflika, the Algerian president, has warned fellow countrymen to be careful with the mass protests, as foreign forces may join in to make things worse. That's according to him. Let's now join Joyce Ohaja in our London bureau for Around the World in 5.
Good evening. Chinese technology giant Huawei is suing the U.S. government after it banned federal agencies from using its products. The U.S. action was taken over national security concerns, with America claiming the company poses a risk. Huawei says there's no evidence to support that, the firm reiterating it's not owned, controlled or influenced by the Chinese government.
Section A9 is unconstitutional in its singling out of Huawei by name, blacklisting it, damaging its reputation, and denying it any way to clear its name and escape sanction. Its attack on Huawei is purposeful and punitive. Huawei is not owned, controlled, or influenced by the Chinese government. Moreover, Huawei has an excellent security recorder.
Meanwhile, the company's CFO, Meng Wanzhou, has appeared in court. Canada is considering whether she should be extradited to the U.S., where she's accused of violating sanctions against Iran. Huawei denies the charges. The judge ruled she can remain on bail. Another hearing will be held in May. A political gathering was forced to run for cover during an attack in Kabul. At least 10 explosions were heard in the Afghan capital, some caused by rockets which landed near members of the Shia Muslim Hazara minority. At least one person was killed and more than a dozen were wounded. Authorities in Jammu and Kashmir are calling for calm after a grenade was launched at a bus stand, injuring at least 18 people. Tensions between India and Pakistan have been high since a suicide bombing last month.
It seems that the grenade has been lobbed from outside. It possibly had rolled beneath the bus and it has caused injuries.
The Roman Catholic Archbishop of Lyon has been convicted of failing to act on historic allegations of sexual abuse against boys in his diocese. Cardinal Philippe Barbarin is the highest profile cleric to be caught up in the child sex abuse scandal in France. He was found guilty of failing to report allegations in the 1980s and 90s against a priest who's due to go on trial later this year. He was given a 6-month suspended sentence. He has 10 days to appeal. Pressure is mounting against Algeria's Abdelaziz Bouteflika. Hundreds of lawyers join the chorus of voices demanding the president step down after 20 years in power. Tens of thousands of protesters have been demonstrating over recent weeks, urging the ailing 82-year-old not to stand in the election, which is scheduled for April the 18th. He's now submitted papers for his candidacy. Germany has condemned Venezuela's decision to expel its ambassador, describing the move as incomprehensible and unacceptable. President Nicolas Maduro's government declared Daniel Kriener persona non grata. He's due to return to Berlin on Saturday. The foreign minister, Heiko Maas, says Germany and its European partners will continue to back opposition leader Juan Guaido. A court in Thailand has ordered the dissolution of a party for nominating the king's sister as its candidate for prime minister. The ruling comes just 2 weeks before the general election and is a major blow for the opposition's chances of defeating parties allied to the military junta. It's the first vote since the military seized power in 2014. The UK is hoping for a breakthrough in Brexit talks when it meets European Union officials this weekend. The country is due to leave the EU on March the 29th. So far, little headway has been made on the Prime Minister's divorce deal.
I think there is goodwill on both sides. I think both sides want to try and find a way through this. And obviously we're hoping for that success to happen this weekend in time for the vote.
The UK Parliament will hold a vote on Tuesday. If the deal's rejected, another vote will be held on delaying Brexit.
if we don't pass the meaningful vote on Tuesday, we'll go into a parliamentary process which very likely will lead to an extension of time and an uncertain outcome.
And finally, the UK's Monarch is expanding her foray into social media. You can now follow Queen Elizabeth's movements on Instagram. She's published her first post on the royal family's channel, celebrating a visit to the Science Museum. And that's your international news around the world in 5.
Good job, Joyce. Well, Medea Macaulay now has the sports news.
Thank you, Gimba. Hello and welcome to Sports News. FIBA World Cup of bound Tigers will know their opponents when the World Cup draw holds in China on Saturday, March the 16th. The team will be making their third appearance after a 12-year absence since 2006. In football, AS Roma have sacked head coach Eusebio de Francesco after the team crashed out of the UEFA Champions League. Roma had taken a 2-1 advantage to Porto for the second leg of their last 16 tie on Wednesday, but fell 4-3 on aggregate after a controversial VAR-awarded penalty deep into extra time. Atletico Madrid coach Diego Simeone has been fined €20,000 for a provocative goal celebration in their 2-0 Champions League win over Juventus. Last season, the former Argentina captain missed the Europa League final when he was banned for 4 European matches after being sent off against Arsenal in the semi-finals for shouting at the referee and pushing the fourth official. That's it on Sports News.
And the main news again, the Independent National Electoral Commission today warned against attacks on its staff during the upcoming elections on Saturday. A coalition of civil society groups also demanded the mandatory use of the card reader during the polls. Also today, the hopes of All Progressives Congress in Taraba State were rekindled after the Courts of Appeal reaffirmed Mr. Sani Danladi as the rightful governorship candidate. And of course, Algeria's President Abdelaziz Bouteflika today warned of the risk of chaos in the country's mass protest. And that's it on the news at 10 tonight. Thank you for watching. I am Gimba Omar. Good night.